Hey folks, back with another video. Let's dive into what stories got my interest today. Starting with an update on Ethiopia's situation, the Ethiopia's government has denied on Monday that northern forces whom its troops have fought for a month would be able to mount guerrilla insurgency, while diplomats said a United Nations team was shot at while trying to visit a refugee camp. Now, United Nations security team seeking to access Shimelba refugee camp, one of four Eritrean refugees in Tigray, was blocked and fired at on Sunday, two diplomatic sources said. The sources declined to give more details, saying the full circumstances were unclear. There was no immediate comment from the government, the TPLF, or United Nations. The United Nations and aid agencies are pressing for safe access to Tigray, which is home to more than 5 million people and where 600,000 relied on food aid even before the war. However, two senior aid officials told Reuters over the weekend that looting and lawlessness meant that the region was still too dangerous to dispatch convoys. The government says that with the peace restored, its priorities are the welfare of the Tigrayans and return of refugees. But some residents, diplomats, and the TPLF say clashes persist, with protests and looting also reported in Mekelle on Friday. Now, in my opinion, one of the things the Ethiopian government has to do is to restore law and order in the Tigray region, which to an extent I think it has been successful, but the there is the law and order, but there's also a sort of a psychological sort of a feel that people have that yes, there seems to be law and order. The Ethiopian government should, in my opinion, also work with the international aid organization primarily by providing them the necessary security arrangements so they can provide the aid to those who are in a food insecure position. Moving on into Indonesia, the officers took in Indonesia, officers took the action against the followers of Muhammad Rizik Shihab, who tried to attack the police with a sword, a machete, and a gun in the district of Karawang just after midnight, the Jakarta police chief Fadil Imran said. Quote, our officers were in danger, so they were forced to take firm and measured actions, end quote, Fadil told reporters. Fadil said that the men who allegedly attacked the officers were planning to take part in a rally against Shihab's questioning by police, which they sought due to accusations that he violated social distancing rules by organizing gatherings attended by thousands of his supporters last month in Jakarta and Bogor. Munarman, a spokesperson for the Islamic Defenders Front, the anti-vice group that Shihab founded, said the six slain men, aged between 20 and 26, were not armed. Quote, we have no access to firearms. All of our members are banned from carrying weapons, let alone firearms. Munarman, who, like many Indonesians, goes by one name, told reporters. Shihab turned home last month after spending 3 years in Saudi Arabia to evade police questioning on charges that he exchanged lewd online messages with a female supporter. In 2018, the police dropped the charges, which Shihab said were trumped up because of his political activity and criticism of the government. But last week, police issued a summons for him to appear for questioning in connection with the gatherings. Shihab last week apologized for the gatherings and pledged not to attend public events during the pandemic. Now, I believe the situation in Indonesia is very fluid. It becomes very, let's just say, very conflict oriented, and then it cools down and then goes back to being heated up. As of yet, I believe the government has been weakened due to the protest in response to their law that they had passed, And I believe with the entry of Shihab, the government may wind up having either a two-front conflict or a one major conflict that becomes united. But only time will tell how situations develop. Moving over to Hong Kong and reporting on some more tyranny being experienced by the Hong Kongers under the Beijing rule. The Hong Kong authorities on Monday arrested 8 people in connection with an unauthorized protest at a university campus last month, police and local media said, amid a widening crackdown on dissent in the semi autonomous territory. The arrests were reportedly made in relation to a demonstration at the Chinese University of Hong Kong in which more than 100 people protested a decision to hold graduation ceremonies online. Now, such ceremonies are often used as ways for students to express political views. Some protesters had called for the Hong Kong's independence and held up signs that read, quote, "Liberate Hong Kong, revolution of our times," end quote, which are considered to have secessionist notions and are outlawed under the city's national security law. Police said they arrested 8 people for an unauthorized protest and inciting secession, but did not specify who they were or whether the arrests were related to the university protests. The 8 arrested are currently being investigated by national security officers, according to local newspapers South China Morning Post, which cited unnamed sources. The crackdown has prompted accusations that Beijing is violating the autonomy it promised when the former British colony was returned to China in 1997. It also has triggered warnings that the ruling Communist Party is damaging Hong Kong's appeal as a global business center and one of Asia's most dynamic cities. Beijing continues to strangle Hong Kong in front of our eyes. Now, I will continue to cover the tyranny that Beijing commits and do whatever little I can to put light on the tyranny. Moving on to Romania. Romania's opposition, Social Democrats, have taken a surprise lead over the governing National Liberals after a parliamentary election, but appears less likely to emerge on top in what promises to be a prolonged post-election wrangling to form a new coalition government. Now, with 95% of ballots counted Monday, the Social Democrat Party had around 30% of the vote, with the center-right National Liberal Party trailing them by 5%. The progressive USR Plus alliance, which has pledged not to be part of any Social Democrat-led government, won about 15% of the vote. Only two other parties crossed the 5% threshold to enter parliament: the far-right AUR alliance, whose vocal opposition to the whole virus restrictions resonated with close to 9% of voters, and the UDMR party that represents the country's Hungarian minority, which won around 6%. The National Liberal leader, Prime Minister Ludovic Orban, said Monday that coalition talks with the Social Democrats were out of the question, but did not provide a clear explanation for how his party hoped to reach a new governing majority in the 465-seat bicameral parliament. The National Liberals have controlled Romania's minority government since October 2019, when the Social Democrats lost a confidence vote in the parliament after a chaotic tenure that had seen it run through 3 prime ministers and dozens of ministers in the space of just 3 years. The Social Democratic-led government had drawn heavy criticism from the EU for its interference with the judiciary and a cascade of corruption scandals involving prominent members. But it defied pre-election polls to become the nominal winner of Sunday's vote with unfeasible promises to preserve Romania's welfare state model, and after the minority National Liberals government faced strong criticism for its handling of the pandemic. Now, only 33% of potential Romanian voters went to the polls Sunday, compared with nearly 39.5% in 2016, which is a markedly drop of Romanians participating in this election. Now, observers blame the historically low turnout on voters' fear of the infection, but also on general disillusionment with Romania's political class. Now, I believe Romania has yet to come out of the shadow cast by its Soviet past. The fact that the corruption is rampant in Romania shows that people in power have continued to live in the paradigm left by the Soviet. Of course, I'm sure there are plenty of other problems and reasons that have plagued Romania. All in all, I wish the Romanian people all the well. Moving on to Germany, thousands of residents from the Gallus district of Germany's financial capital, Frankfurt, were told to leave their homes in preparation for the safe removal of a British 500 kilograms World War II bomb on Sunday. Almost 13,000 people living in the upscale neighborhood close to the city center began leaving their apartments at 8 a.m. local time. Now, discoveries like these are regular occurrences all over Germany and, in fact, all over Europe, including a so-called earthquake bomb found in October near the German-Polish border. Now, those affected by Sunday's evacuation include the residents of several retirement homes, along with facilities belonging to the state rail operator Deutsche Bahn. Residents who have no alternative accommodation until Sunday evening were advised to move to a nearby exhibition hall. The unexploded bomb was discovered on Thursday on a construction site. The local fire brigade said the size and design of the explosive could create massive damage and be a danger to life. Authorities have set up a 700-meter exclusion zone around the area. Frankfurt was regularly bombed by the Allied forces during the Second World War, which destroyed the largest medieval city in Germany and killed more than 5,000 people. Now, this story shows how a war may end, but it may still cause headaches decades after it ends. This is just another of many costs of war, which will go, part of it is seen, part of it unseen, and as this story illustrates, the war may end, but its consequences will continue to come out and haunt the future generations. Well, that's it for this video. If you like the video, then hit that like button and hit that subscribe button for future updates. Write in the comment sections your thoughts, criticism, and anything I might have missed. And as usual, the sources to the story is down below in the description box. And I will see you in the next video.